This is Power 102 Digital Tuesday. Hard Talk starts now, and I'm invited some scouts or representatives of the Scouts and the Girl Guides Associations across Trinidad and Tobago to join me this afternoon on Hard Talk, where we're going to be dealing with the topic building civic-minded youths and national pride. I'm waiting on the representatives to come onto the system. I have on the system with me Kyle Kyle Doman, and he is the coordinator of the planned event for Republic Day 2024, and Mr. Mark Ainsley John. He is the National Scout Commissioner. So I'm just awaiting these folks to come on the set with me. In the meantime, in the planning is a joint parade to commemorate the 40th anniversary of Republic Day here in Trinidad and Tobago. The event is set for Skinner Park in San Fernando. And of course, Republic Day 2024 is on Tuesday, next Tuesday, 24th of September. The parade gets going from 8 a.m. or 800 hours, followed by a street parade. So I'm hoping that these representatives will join me. And of course, I've had them here already, the Scouts in particular, and we went extensively and expanded on the programs, the initiatives, and the activities that they had planned previously. So while we are waiting them, let me just remind you that it's very important. These days there's lots to talk about negativities and criminal activities and the kind of behavioral patterns in schools, at the malls, and all of that. So I will always make it possible to put in my 2 cents, as we say, where the development of these youths are concerned, especially with their behavioral patterns and stuff pertaining to that. So the joint parade is set for next Tuesday, Republic Day, in San Fernando at Skinner Park, where these varied groups and associations will get together for a joint parade. And of course, it marches off at 8 a.m. or 800 hours, if we are to talk in the military perspective. And it will be followed by a street parade. So I guess they'll be going through the streets of San Fernando. And they'll tell us more when they join me here. I hope that they join me soon. Time is running away. And of course, I also expected to have Mrs. Kellyanne Wilson, Senior Girl Guides Commissioner, and Mrs. Kerry Ann Phillip, the Junior Girl Guides Commissioner. So I'm hoping that they join me soon to discuss this planned event for Republic Day. Remember, it's our 48th anniversary as a republic right here in Trinidad and Tobago. So I know the group, the Scouters especially, had gone to Tobago during the vacation period, I believe, and I would like them to expand on it. So I'm just standing by here waiting for them to join me. I'm seeing them here, but I'm not connecting with them. I hope that they join me soon. There's not much I can say because I'd like to share the information with you. But all in all, it's very concerning about the state that Trinidad and Tobago has found itself in, especially with fingers pointed at the young people in particular. At the schools, we have seen a lot of brawls, a lot of fights involving young ladies and these young men. And of course, at the malls, and we hear about gang-related stuff and all of that. So the disciplinary entities like Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Sea Scouts, Girl Guides, Brownies, cadets, these are disciplinary arms or entities, I should say, or associations that could very, very much help in changing the quality and lifestyles of these young people. So I'm standing by for them to join me. So in the meantime, I invite you to tell a friend. You can call in and give your perspectives, your comments, your opinions at 222-8255, 222-8255, 866-525-1099. That's our toll-free number, 866-525-1099. And we are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. So you can send in your comments and I'll read it out for the folks who are listening and watching in to this Hard Talk session with me, host David McIntyre. And like I said, I'm seeing Kyle Doman and Mark Ainsley John. I'm just waiting for them to come on the system and mute their microphones, and let's start the discussion here.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon, my brother. How are you? Who am I speaking to? Kyle or Mark?
Speaking of Kyle, at the moment, sir.
Oh,
And
okay, my
Mark is
brother.
right here as well.
Oh, Mark is here too.
Yeah, we've been here. We've been waiting on you.
Nice. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good
How are
afternoon.
you doing?
We have a very nice topic. I see a very, very pertinent topic in building civic-minded youths and the national pride. And it's all about a joint parade to commemorate the 40th anniversary of Republic Day in Trinidad and Tobago. At Skinner Park in San Fernando, the action is set for Tuesday, yes, Tuesday the 24th, 800 hours, to be followed by a street parade. Now, tell me, I don't know if you guys were here with me on the last occasion we had a program here. There were lots of activities planned. Tell us, can you just remind us of how they went and how they panned out and stuff?
Sure, I was on the radio station with you the last time.
Good.
We had quite a bit of success as it relates to all of the activities. I heard you mention our camp in Tobago
Yes, I
um,
remember that very well.
during the July August vacation, but we also took some young people to Guyana to
Oh,
join with our counterparts in Guyana, the Scout Association of Guyana.
mhm.
And Kyle was instrumental in planning that activity for us. So during the July August vacation, we tried to give our young people as much opportunities to be outdoors as possible and to camp. And our Cub Scouts, the young people who were in primary school,
Yeah.
they went across to Tobago. So we had approximately 300 individuals from the association go across to Tobago at Roxborough Secondary School. They
Wow.
spent a week there learning new skills
Mhm.
as well as making new friends and new friendships. You know, it was a wonderful experience. These young people came back, and I read an essay of one of the Cub Scouts, and she was talking about the fact that she went horseback riding. Um, they visited the nylon pool, and it was the first time that she ever ventured into the waters of the nylon pool. You know, they spoke about how good the food was. That was a major talking point. But
Yes.
then they got into the details of the activities. Doing tie dye, learning new crafts, learning new skills. But I think from all of the reports that I've gotten, the building of the friendships and the meeting of the new people was one of the things that remain number one in terms of the experiences that they gained. And these were Cub Scouts, these were students of primary schools,
Yeah.
um, young people from the age of 7 to 10 and a half who came across from various communities of Trinidad and Tobago and joined together, slept together in one location, interacted with new people for an entire week, and they learned the skills that we talk about as it relates to leadership, as it relates to personal development, time management, material management, people skills, all of these soft skills that are required to become active citizens in our society. So they had a great time.
Mhm.
You know, in terms of the students who are scouts, well, I'm calling them students, but the young people who are scouts,
Yeah.
um, those young people who are from the age group 11 to 17, they went across to Guyana and they shared a week of activities in Guyana on the move. And they themselves learned a lot of interpersonal skills as well as skills that related to how they could manage their time, how they could manage their resources, and how they could manage themselves through outdoor activities. One of the anecdotal comments coming out of that was that a young man, one of the things that he did, for instance, was jump on some bicycles and ride through Georgetown.
Yeah.
And the owner of the tour company that took them through Georgetown, he sent me a message afterwards and he was saying, there was this particular young man who was very afraid to jump on the bike. And his fellow scouts were so encouraging, giving him advice, telling him, don't worry, it's going to be wonderful. And by the time he got on that bicycle, and within 2 minutes, the smile on his face and the shouts of joy as he rode the bicycle and headed through the streets of Georgetown really impressed the owner of the tour company. And he asked me, he's like, what is this magic called scouting? How can someone who was so deathly afraid of jumping on a bicycle and riding through the streets of Georgetown within a few minutes be so happy and be so assertive and be so brave? He didn't understand it. And you know what I told him? I said it was because of the fact that it is young people leading young people. It is young people encouraging young people. It is young people showing young people that they can do the best of whatever they put their minds to. And that is the magic of scouting. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Yes. So those experiences and activities, did it attract a new cadre of young people to be part of the scouting movement?
Yes, definitely. But not just young people. I talk about young people, but I also have a great team of leaders across Trinidad and Tobago, and all of our adult volunteers are volunteers. All of our adult volunteers put in the work to ensure that we have the best experience for young people. And since those activities were published via our social media, and since those young people came back and the adults came back from Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, we've had a constant slew of parents asking how they could get their children involved, as well as adults asking how they can become members of the organization so that they could experience some of the same things that the young people experience, but also share their skills that they have with the children of Trinidad and Tobago, and we've had a steady stream of youth joining the groups. We've had a steady stream of youth asking, how can I be involved in scouting? What does it take to be a scout? And we've answered those questions. Even up until this morning, a mother asked me about getting her children to be involved in the scout movement. So it's been great. It's been great.
Nice. Now the theme, I like the theme for this planned event for Republic Day, building civic-minded youths and the national pride. Can you guys elaborate on that theme?
Sure. I'll start and then Kyle could give you some more details because Kyle is part of that planning process. The development of the entire parade and the genesis behind it is due to the fact that our three organizations, Scouts, Guides, and Cadets, has as its core the development of young people. And within Scouting, we succinctly put it that we create active citizens. And what is an active citizen? A citizen that recognizes that the people around them are valuable, worthy of their time, worthy of their attention. And further to that, we encourage in young people and in the membership of the organization the pride in the nation, the civic pride, the ability to recognize that as a citizen of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, you should do your best for the people of Trinidad and Tobago and for the environment of Trinidad and Tobago. Not just the people, but the environment. And so the inspiration behind the joint activity comes from that ethos, comes from the fact that we encourage and we enshrine in our activities this civic mindedness, this pride in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and what it stands for from an environmental perspective, from a physical perspective, and from a people perspective. And what better place to start from than with the future, with the young people who will become the future adults, who will become the future presidents, the prime ministers, the future politicians, the future bankers, the future business people, as well as the future citizens of the nation. So that's basically where we started from and the premise in which we are operating for this Republic Day.
Okay. Kyle, would you like to add to that? I know that you are the coordinator. How much effort it took to coordinate such an event?
I think that was an excellent exposition by our National Scouts Commissioner and the genesis of the event. I can speak on behalf of Mr. Jaron Romilly, who is the man who has been behind the scenes planning and putting together and having the conversations. From the meetings that I've been in thus far, it is a lot. It's a heavy amount to do, considering that it's not only a Scouts TT activity or event, but it's a joint one. And so it's a lot of coordinating with the different arms and pulling together of the different personalities as well. However, considering it's a parade, there's specific protocols in place that we all adhere to, which the cadet force is taking lead under to kind of guide us, the scouts and the guides, who, yes, we are very familiar with the protocols and whatnot for parades, but these guys, they live that. So taking the lead from them, working with them as they take the lead on the parade, for us, it's a bit of a stretch because we are now getting back into the groove of the street parades, the Independence Day parades, even these joint parades. This, as far as I'm concerned, it's first in a while that we've done something like this. So the kickoff, as you know, would definitely be a bit tougher than what has been before. And going forward, we trying our very best to ensure that everything is run in decency and in order, ensuring that everybody understands their roles and their functions. So to answer the question, it is a lot, but it has been a lot of fun thus far. And I think that's something that scouts they push a lot in whatever they do, as they base in all things character. They ensure that everything that we do, there's a fun aspect to it. So it kind of takes away the stress from what it is happening at the moment. So yes, it's very serious. It's properly planned and executed and whatnot, but there's this fun aspect that only scouting could add to something.
Yes, I understand. Tell me, in putting this together, and let me see if I can fast forward to something I had planned to ask you later down in the program. What kind of support do you have from the corporate people? All communities patronize the business sector, and I don't know if you can point to any entity that contributes, sponsor, or render some kind of assistance where your operation needs and other support systems are concerned, even to the extent of this parade on next Tuesday, Republic Day, because I know they'll have to be refreshed, they'll have to be, well hydrated and all of that. Is there any entity you can point to that have jumped on board with you guys to assist in any department of your development or development plans for these young people?
Well, sure. The city of San Fernando and the mayor of San Fernando has been very gracious in allowing us to have the parade in his city
Yeah.
during the day of, I suppose, that is Republic Day. You
Yes.
know, the workers at the city of San Fernando as well. They they've helped us through understanding what it is to utilize the venue of Skinner Park. um, we've been working with the police to also assist us in terms of understanding what is necessary to have a street parade and all of the things. So the police is one of our partners. Um, in terms of corporate Trinidad and Tobago, Restaurant Holdings Limited has been very generous as it relates to providing us some refreshments. So the refreshments for our young people after they have finished the parade and the route march. We have reached out to some other corporate entities in terms of asking for some support. Um, and as a venture like this that requires that amount of support
Mhm.
really requires, the assistance of corporate Trinidad and Tobago to get it done.
Yes.
But I'm very grateful to Restaurant Holdings because they have providing us. I call them our official meal partner. They have providing us with the meals for the day to ensure that the young people who come out to showcase and highlight this 40th anniversary of Republican status.
Mhm.
And it's a significant thing to be a republic, to be in control of your own destiny as a people and as a nation,
Yes.
to basically jump on board and say to those young people, as Restaurant Holdings is doing, and as the city of San Fernando and the mayor of San Fernando is doing, and all other corporate entities that have jumped on board and other individuals, to say to them, we believe in you and we are supporting you through this activity and this venture.
Great, great, great. If we can expand on that, what about government intervention? I mean, they probably have a line ministry, let's say like Ministry of National Security, Community Development, or Social Development. Are they on board with you at any particular time? I mean, across the board, outside of the parade and all of that.
Well, yes, we do get support from the government.
Mhm.
We do get support from many sectors of the society. Our line ministry, whilst we are an independent organization, that is the Scout Movement, we do get a subvention from the Ministry of Social Development, and we do get support from its NGO unit
Mhm.
in terms of helping us to ensure that we comply with the laws and the regulations as it associates with the NPO Act, um, as well as helping us to make sure that we are able to do the business, the core functions of the organization via
Yeah.
that subvention.
Mhm.
We can reach out as organizations to the Ministry of Youth, for instance, and request support. We've recently had a conversation with the United Nations because at a global level, the Scout movement has um, agreements with the United Nations to support the work and the goals of the UN globally. And so in Trinidad and Tobago, that is happening. The Ministry of Sport and Community Development, one of the things that we've done as an organization is provided avenues for young people to participate as best as possible in their own self-development. And so as a movement, we have reached out to the Cycling Federation, for instance, and we've offered a 6-week cycling clinic. We've done swimming, we've done tennis, we've done rugby, and we've done a few other sports which are failing me right now, but we have basically had those partnerships to ensure that we are able to give the best amount of opportunities for young people to develop. In the area of spiritual development,
Mhm.
we also work well with the major religious bodies that exist in Trinidad and Tobago to have our young people develop spiritually, because spiritual development is part of who we are within the Scout movement. And so across all the sectors of society, I would say that we've had the support. You know, our national camp in Tobago, for instance, we had corporate support from NGC, for instance, from Methanex, from, and I really don't want to call everyone because I may forget some companies.
Yeah.
I don't want to, upset anyone. Digicel supports us as it relates to our communications. For instance, the Minister of Foreign Affairs himself being a member of the organization, and I would say a member being through the fact that we have this adage that once a scout you're always a scout. He was instrumental in getting the scouts that went to Guyana. He was personally instrumental in getting the scouts that went to Guyana to visit Kaitio Falls. you
Okay.
know
Yeah.
um and that visit in and of itself is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And because of his personal intervention and his reassurance that, National Scout Commissioner, I want to ensure that these young people see this waterfall,
Yeah.
I am going to get personally involved. And he did it. So the Scout movement has had the support of the society. The Ministry of Education supports us as well by being a partner to the movement and allowing us to have access to the schools. The schools themselves, they allow us to go into the schools and do programs. We have a strong and robust music program. And we have several bands located across Trinidad and Tobago. And what that does is that it allows young people who have musical interests, who have musical talents, to hone that interest, to develop that interest, and perhaps end up in a sphere or a space that allows them to get gainful employment. And so we do have a lot of support.
Right, that's nice to hear. I am always very concerned, and I always talk about these disciplinary entities like the scouts and all of that. Especially there's so much said about the negativities and the behavioral patterns. I don't want to use the term or the phrase criminal activities of the young people of this era. And the showcasing of this parade, some of the events that you said was successful with over 300 of them taking part in Tobago and thing. Um, I know it brings about a sort of deterrence to the negative aspects that they might be attracted to or tempted to get into. So tell me something. What kind of can you identify areas, as a matter of fact, where the scouting and girl guiding are well practiced, and any plans to have the movement of these areas set up what I would refer to as an outreach, uh, referring to the intent, especially to the theme that you have building civic-minded youths and national pride. In my area, Labrie, I live in Labrie, and at one time we had a little bit of all. We had Boy Scouts, we had Girl Guides, we had Cub Scouts, we had Boys Brigade, we had Sea Scouts, and it was a bound to must have to be part of in the community. I mean, all the young guys and girls, we were prompted by our parents and motivated to be part of this. There are a lot of areas that we paint as hotspots. I don't know who who came up with the idea to do that, but there are impoverished places and there are hotspot areas where some of the young people are at a disadvantage in developing their lives in a positive way. What kind of outreach the associations, Cubs, Scouts, Girl Guides, Cadets, what kind of outreach you have on the drawing board, if I should put it like that, to get into these areas and to help in the development of the youths in these areas? Because these areas are areas where they have borders, border lines, and all this kind of thing. How challenging that can be.
Well, I will point out that I really am happy to have that question posed. One of the things I was talking to my wife about recently was the fact that you were growing up, and for Independence time, or even before Independence time, you would see every business had a national flag in front of it or a flagpole.
Yes.
And I was driving through one of the business districts recently, and I was like, is it really independence? Because
Hmm.
nobody has a flagpole with a flag
Yeah.
on it. There's no bunting. There's no I am red, white, and black.
Hmm.
But we, through this effort here, intend to bring that back. We intend to say to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the red, white, and black is firmly planted and flying strong. And it is doing so through an upcoming generation of young people. And notice I'm using the term young people
Yes.
because it is not scouts who are doing this, it is
Mhm.
not guides who are doing this, it is not cadets doing this. It is young people from these three organizations that are doing it. And I'm glad that you mentioned that historically these organizations used to exist in all of the communities,
Yes.
and you would have Boys Brigade and Scouts and Guides all working together.
Mhm.
And but it comes back again to us coming out of that post independence, post republicanism period where we had to find ourselves as a nation and and build ourselves as a nation. And I think what we are doing right now on the cusp of the 50th anniversary of republicanism, because it's 48th this year, so it's only 2 years, starting that process to
Mhm.
ensure that we can rebuild in our nation through these young people that pride that I remember growing up seeing, where from Independence Day going straight up until Republic Day, there was a red, white, and black set of bunting on every building, whether it be
Yes.
private or public, whether it be church or other institution, in this small way.
Hmm.
As it relates to the areas in which we are functioning, we do function across 6 districts in Trinidad and Tobago. And like with every institution that is the age of our organizations, because Cadet Force started 2 years before us, we started in 1912, and the Girl Guides started in, I think they're celebrating their 100th anniversary this year. You know, the age of the institutions would have caused its ebb and its flows. And at this point in time, we are on the resurgence. We have a scout troop right on the wharf in San Fernando.
I
Two
know.
scout troops, as a matter of fact, on the wharf
Yes.
in San Fernando.
Yes.
And those two scout troops bring together young people from what is termed underprivileged
Mhm.
and what is termed privileged. And the young people and the adults coexist in those two scout troops, and I'll call their names: Third Trinidad Sea Scouts and
Yes.
First Notre Dame Sea Scouts, in a manner that suggests that there is no economic or social demarcation whatsoever
Mhm.
at all.
Hmm.
Because scouting, as Kyle says, and as I said, is an activity, is a mindset, is a set of is a way of living. Let me use that term, a way of living that allows everyone who participates in scouting to see the beauty of humanity. And
Hmm.
that beauty, that humanity, does not have any trappings that are economic or that are social in any way. Young people are simply young people, and they are simply participating in an activity. And when they come there, whether they come from uh, uh, depressed area or an underprivileged area,
Mm.
or whether they come from a privileged area, they come and they meet their friends and they exist without any bias, none whatsoever. Because, as I say, the movement is about young people leading young people. And
Yes.
across in Mayaro, for instance, we have a band that has been in existence for more than 25 years. And in that area, Perenco, the company, recently jumped on board to sponsor the band because the band is a nexus for the growth and development of young people in the Mayaro and the Guayari area, and the Ottawa area. And young people come across from those communities and they come to learn music. And you wouldn't believe that the number of scouts who leave the scout group and end up in senior positions within the business community
Mhm.
and the government service, as well as the military, because of the fact that they have been exposed to music in that area. It's something that should be studied if you were an academic. You know
Yeah.
how scouting has shaped the lives of so many young people in Trinidad and Tobago to make them into the best people that exist, and then make them into functional members of the society. In
I
terms of in terms of plans, we are working at this point in time as an organization to do more. But whilst we may have corporate support, as with everything, we can have much more corporate support um, for the efforts that we are doing in our communities. I hear business people complaining about, the fact that young people are not um, coming to them with the skills required, the critical employability skills.
yeah.
But the organizations, and I'm saying this now, the organizations, the scouts, the guides, and the cadets, create in young people those critical employability skills, the time management skills, the
Mhm.
people management skills, the leadership. We all use the terminology discipline, but it is a lot more than discipline. It is critical employability skills, the resource management skills. You can give a scout or a guide or a cadet a first aid kit and they will manage that for you. They will make sure that the first aid kit is up to date, that if there's anything expired, it will be replaced. They can tell you when it needs to be replaced, how many items are in there, and that is inventory management, right? That's
Yes.
resource management.
Yes.
And they learn that from the age of 7,
Mhm.
right? And if we can have more of our business community getting involved to support our organizations, to support the scouts and support the guides and support the cadets, we will be able to have much more expansion into a lot of the places that we don't exist at this point in time. you know um and support is not just money.
Mhm.
We have a robust Sea Scout program, and we were recently gifted first aid kits for the water.
Mhm.
First aid kits that a I don't have permission to state the name of the company, but
Right.
the company said to us, here's what we have: these first aid kits, and we understand that you all do a lot of sea scouting, you all do a lot of training young people to be on the water.
Mhm.
We purchased, they gave us 15 of those. We purchased 15 extra of these because we saw on your social media that we have scouts who are participating in life saving, who are participating in rowing, who are participating in cleaning the waters around Trinidad and Tobago. And we would like to support that program. And they bought it for us. And so we distributed these to the Sea Scout groups that exist in our organization. And that is the kind of support that we are talking about, because to raise funds to do things, we have to go back to the same communities that are marginalized or that are depressed.
Yes.
And we are not asking for money alone. We are asking for support. If you have a space, for instance, to have a meeting, if you have a space to allow us to bring young people together, and if you have a program that already exists that would allow young people to be developed in a particular way, then reach out to our organizations. We'll be glad to partner with you to do these programs. We have peace programs that we would like to share with the rest of the nation and the community, but it requires us to print materials. It also requires us to move young people from one location to the next.
Yes.
And if there's a company, for instance, that does transportation and would like to help us move young people, feel free
Yeah.
to message us. We would be glad for it. You know, if there's a company that is willing to say to the scout movement and to guides and cadets, here are 20 tents, take young people to your campground, we would be glad for them. Because today we have families living one on top of the other,
Yeah.
and there are less opportunities for young people to go outside and play.
Hmm.
And there are also less opportunities for young people to commune with nature. When we were growing up, we were able to climb trees very easily. We were able to go into our neighbors' yards and pick some fruit. We were able to go outside and just gaze at the stars. Our life today is is totally different.
Yes. And
But we do have these opportunities through our organizations, and if we could get the support, we can do it. We can say to the schools, we can say to the communities, come camp with us. Just come camp with us. You don't have to be a member of the organization to camp with us, but I'm certain that after you've camped with us, you will want to be a member of the organization. But we need to get the support. A tent is very expensive, and it's
yes.
also they are limited. There's a limit in terms of the amount that we can purchase as an organization, or even a scout troop can purchase. You
Yeah.
know, and having a scout troop, sorry, having a scout troop, for instance, on the wharf in San Fernando, you know, there's a limit in terms of what those scout troops can do on their own. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And this is my appeal as National Scout Commissioner and as a scout leader and as a scout myself to all of the entities, all of the businesses, all of the people of Trinidad and Tobago to get re-engaged with our organizations, right? Because we've been here as scouts since 1912. And I know for a fact that there are of citizens, thousands of citizens that have benefited from the scout movement. And when I multiply that by 3 in terms of the guides, scouts, and cadets, if each former member of the organization were to say, I am going to go back, or I'm going to find the headquarters of the scouts or the guides or the cadets, and I'm going to give that institution, whether it be any one of ours, $1 to support the program of the movement, because what the scouts or what the cub scouts or what the guides or what cadets did for me or brownies did for me as a child growing up, I truly appreciate, and I am going to give back to that organization in that way. We would be able to do 100% more as organizations.
Yes. Yes. I appreciate all what you said there, and I know it will impact on a lot of people who are listening. Let me say hi to Bisnat Prasad, a very avid and religious, bona fide listener to the Heart Talk programs, Dr. Storytell, and Mary Prasad. Those are people who are commenting and giving you guys thumbs up. Congrats to the scouts. All the best with the parade. Yes, and they're sending those kind of comments into the studio right now. Now we're talking about the people who are willing to have their young children get involved in these disciplinary entities. I like to call them that because, like you said, it's more than discipline. Also, it's a way of life. It helps you to it helps to nurture these youths into being the kind of adults we would really like to see as Trinbagonians in the future. Now, there are lots of people who complain, about the cost of living. Now there are lots of taxes, the cost of travel, etc. Um, how expensive is it for, let's say, a mother and a father to have their son or sons and get into the scouts movement, Girl Guides, cadets? I mean, what are the main requirements, and how costly you think it can be that they might be deterred from saying, "No, I can't afford that," or yeah, or no, maybe a yes, I can afford that. How costly it is?
Well, I think it depends on the perspective.
Mhm.
You know, in the past, the focus has been on getting into the uniform and
Yes.
making sure that you are in the uniform.
Mhm.
But the present is participating.
Okay.
Let's get you to participate. Let's get you to build these social skills. Let's get your family involved in terms of understanding the same social skills. And then let's look for a way to find the uniform afterwards.
Mm.
And that's the approach that we've been taking within the Scout Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Let's get you to participate.
Mhm.
And joining the organization requires no financial outlay except nominal registration fee.
Mhm.
And that registration fee, I believe, is less than $100 TT. And for families that may not be able to afford that, I know that there are a lot of groups within the organization. They do fundraising
Yeah.
to ensure that they are able to support the the groups. I'm This came to me whilst we were talking there. I want to give a special shout out to my leaders in Port of Spain. There's Nelson Street Boys RC School, and when you talk about Nelson Street, you talk about gang violence, right? You talk about that in a city, gang violence. Yet within Nelson Street, we have parents who are supporting the Scout movement through Nelson Street Boys.
Mhm.
That Scout troop there, and the wonderful leader Leela Stout, who is a member of the Belmont community, is working hard to, get the young people of the area of the Port of Spain, the East Port of Spain area,
Yeah.
to understand scouting, and the parents of that area, they and I'll use your terminology, some of them are underprivileged,
Mhm.
but the school itself, recognizing the value of the organization, has come behind the support, has come behind and given the support to the leader to
Mhm.
ensure that they are able to provide this avenue of development to the young people. you
Yes.
know um Simply come. And if you are unable to participate, one of the things that we have done is that if you are unable to participate every week, you can join in virtually if you have the access and the ability to join in virtually.
Mhm.
And Kyle is an active and practicing scout leader. And, last weekend, they moved their meeting. They went to a different space so that they were able to interact with other members of the community. And they had sports in the Palm East Park, showcasing the organization,
Mhm.
showcasing what we do. But what we've done is recognize that we are living in the age of technology,
Yes.
and also recognize that we don't need to be so hard and fast in terms of, you join scouting, you
Mhm.
must get a uniform immediately, because it is expensive to be in uniform, especially if you need to be in the entire and the full uniform.
Yes.
But come join in, and then the group will assist you in getting the uniform. you
Mhm.
know um as National Scout Commissioner, I have asked my leadership to provide as much resources to our young people. So now our program books are available electronically and for free.
Mhm.
So now the program of the organization is available to the members of the movement for free, so that you can download the book, or you can use the book on any device that you have, instead of having to purchase a book, as was the case in the past.
Yeah.
And you know I got the support for the idea from the membership, from the management team, from the district commissioners, because I said to them, here's what, let us make sure that we can have as many people in our society accessing the scout movement. And our membership and our leadership and our management team, they said, yes, let's do this. Let's give these books, let's give the booklets for free. We have also been, so scouts wear badges.
Yeah.
Right. And what we've been doing is working towards trying to get as many of those badges sponsored by corporate TT. So,
Mhm.
for instance, in the communications badge, we are on the radio right now, and this is a platform for communication.
Yes.
But can you imagine if Power 102 can co brand the communications badge for the organization, and then say to the Scout Association of Trinidad and Tobago, we would like to produce the communications badge. That's where we are at this point in time. That's where our Deputy National Scout Commissioner Planning and Development is leading us, Miss Diane Danpat, so
Mhm.
that we could approach corporate Trinidad and Tobago and say, here's what, scouting is expensive. The young people have to purchase their badges after they work for them. But why don't you sponsor the badges and put your brand on it,
Mhm.
so that we can give these badges for free to the young people
Mhm.
who have worked for the badge themselves. So imagine if Power 102 says to me, Mr. John, here's what, we want to sponsor 300 of these badges and put our brand in it. We
Yeah.
would welcome that. We would.
Mhm.
And if there's any other business person listening, or any other organization listening, you
Mhm.
know, reach out to us, because that's the way that we intend to go. That's the way that we intend to go in terms of some of the badges that we offer. The first aid badge, for instance, can be sponsored by a first aid company, and co-branding can happen,
Yes.
because those are the things that are taking place on a global level, and those are the best practices that are taking place on a global level. And what it did and what it has done is has opened the organization up and the movement up to more people, so that less people are saying this is expensive, because the businesses are saying, you know what, I'm sponsoring this badge.
Yeah.
And we are okay with having the business brand on the badge as well.
That sounds good. I mean, based on what you're saying, also, well, social media is the place to be. It's the most effective for promoting, marketing, and getting out your news and information to the folks out there who will be just browsing around and who are probably looking to see what activities and what's on the drawing board for the Scout Association and the Guides Association, cadets, everybody, and any particular platforms on which people can log on to get that kind of information?
We run all except TikTok and
Oh,
Snapchat.
okay.
So
Okay.
we're on the traditional Facebook.
Yeah.
We are on Instagram, and we are on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
Our young leaders are currently working on getting us onto TikTok, so that we could share what we are doing there. But we are using those platforms to also share our program, give more access to the organization that way. And I can tell you that our partner organizations, our partner youth organization, cadets and girl guides, they're also using the social media to share the work of what they are doing
Yeah.
in terms of the development of the young people through their various programs. The cadet force recently launched a robust recruitment understanding or recruitment drive on their social media pages, so that they published a series of how to get involved in cadets via
Mhm.
their social media pages. And you can check those social media pages out. Ours is Scouts TT.
Mhm.
Cadets is Trinidad and Tobago Cadet Force, and Girl Guides is Trinidad and Tobago Girl Guides. And all of the work that we are doing is inside of there. And as I said, within the Scout movement, we welcome everyone to
Mhm.
participate with us, even if you want to just come and try it out,
Yeah.
and see whether this is something that you like or something that you're interested in.
Well, I certainly hope that a lot of people will be interested in jumping on board, because there's so much negative talk about the young people. Fingers keep pointing at them. If you live in an area like where I do, you'd observe there are lots of people who are really trying. They really try. You see they live under very, very challenging situations, and they keep trying. And it would be nice for the corporate people especially to reach out and do some sort of contributing and sponsorship of whatever department they can, and do same to the associations. So tell me something. If private or business people, corporate people want to contribute, um, what about websites and emails and phone numbers and stuff?
Well, for our organization,
Mhm.
it's Scouts TT,
Yeah.
and you can reach out via the social media.
Hmm.
To speak to us via phone call, it's 624-7271.
Repeat the
If
number.
624
Hmm.
7271.
Right.
If you want to send us an email, you can, headquarters at scouts.tt.
Headquarters, that's the whole word, not
Yes,
HQ, right?
headquarters at scouts.tt.
Hmm.
And of course, if you want to reach out to the cadet force or to the girl guys, you can do the same thing. You can send them a DM, a direct message via their social media.
Yeah.
Um, you can highlight, you know, what you would like in terms of, even if you don't send us a direct message and you have a page, you can at us, at Scouts TT or at Scout Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and say,
Mm.
we'll see the notification and we'll respond.
Right. 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 That is fantastic. Dr. Storyteller says Alberta, who has also sent her best wishes. So a lot of people are sending their messages to the studio here. So I'm happy that they're logged on and listening, because I think about this as very, very important. I know it's a lot of hard work that you guys are voluntary tearing to do. I the last program we had, I was hoping that there can be a fund set up where you guys can draw down from when there are urgent needs, and when you want to put certain programs that are costly in place for the young people, because the young people, most of them are very savvy. So like for IT and that kind of electronic support. I mean, it would be nice for electronic companies to jump on board, and assist with that. So I hope that people would recognize the importance, instead of sitting by and just pointing negative fingers at the young people, because I do feel for them. And I remember, like I said, back in my days as a scout, there was a level of discipline unmatched. I I will always say it's incomparable to as what you're seeing happening now. So it is very important, and I think highly concerning to everybody, every single person, every Trinbagonian, and people who are listening via the internet, who are not in Trinidad and they're listening, if they can support in any kind of way, I know it will be highly appreciated. So let me ask you something. Are you satisfied with the development thus far? You think
Development.
it's worth, you think it's worth the while? You put all this energy into it. I know you're a family man. Sometimes it's difficult when you got to leave out the family and go tend to the youths, because it's very important that we help grow them up and nurture them in a certain kind of way. Are you satisfied with the results that you've been seeing or hearing or physically touching thus far?
Kyle?
Yes, Kyle is very quiet.
Yeah, you sure you want me to answer that question, yes, sir?
Or you are still a
And
member of the
I asked that
organization.
question because Mr. John has been involved ever since I've known him. He was actually one of my leaders as a scout.
Yes.
Am I satisfied? No, I'm definitely not satisfied, but I am very grateful thus far for
Mhm,
what I am seeing within the organization and from the youths as well.
mhm.
You could identify a young man and you could say, hey, that young man is involved in sports. He's involved in scouts. He is involved at his church by just looking at the way he carries about himself.
Mhm.
And I think by just looking at the one or two youths that we see in society, walking the streets, walking the malls, and you say, hey, that young man is involved in cadets, you could look at his posture and you could see it.
Yes.
And it brings a joy knowing that these young men and these young women, they bring a different light to society no matter where they may be. So am I satisfied? No, I don't think we'd ever be, because we could see the work that needs to be put in, and
Mm,
we are putting in as much as we can, and so are all of our leaders in the different organizations.
yeah.
But I am very grateful for the time and the effort that we do put in to see such results.
Mm. Yes, yes, and I'm like I said the last time. I'm always here. I'm willing to expose what you guys are doing, and to give you that space whenever needed. Because when my good friend texted me and said he want to talk about the parade and the street parade and stuff, I promptly started to make time for him. So I
Yeah,
would.
I would love if the whole nation
Mhm.
could descend upon Sipero Street
Yes.
on September 24th
Hmm.
and see our young people on display
Hmm.
and clap and cheer for them
Yeah.
like they do the adults
Hmm.
on Independence Day.
Yes.
That's one of the goals that we have for this parade. That's one of the things that we have for this parade. I want us to get back, and this is going to be an annual event.
Great.
I want us to get back to celebrating youth and
Hmm.
celebrating these young people. You know, we have almost 5,000 members,
Hmm.
and within the organization, these young people and adults volunteer and give service. And if you were to multiply 1 hour a day
Hmm.
times, and I will conservatively say 4,500, or I'll round it up to 5,000. 1 hour a day multiplied by 5,000,
Yes.
and say to yourself that this hour is spent in volunteerism in service to others.
Hmm.
You can imagine, after you multiply that by 365, how much work
Hmm.
youth, young people, and leaders of these organizations, of the Scout movement, I'm just using the Scout movement, is doing in
Yes.
Trinidad and Tobago. And when you multiply that by three, because Girl Guides and cadets are doing it, you are literally choking up and racking up a lot of hours of service to
Hmm.
Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
And the Republic Day parade may start off with the Scouts, Guides, and Cadets, but it may end up being a Republic Day parade that has all youth organizations, whether they be religious or non-religious. Next year, it might be that we three of our organizations say, let's try to bring in more people. And if
Yes.
corporate Trinidad and Tobago says to us, what, here's what, we would like to sponsor the water, or we would like to sponsor more food, or we would like to, sponsor something else to ensure that we get this done,
Mhm.
you know, it may
Flags,
have,
banners, all of that. Yeah.
yeah, more participation with more young people. And the spin-off for that is that less young people may be involved in the negative activities, because more young people may want to get involved in being on parade,
That's right.
in being
That's
on parade.
yes.
And sometimes I say I'm satisfied, and then sometimes I'm saying, I have more to do. I have more to do. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that Kyle said, he's not satisfied as yet, because there's a
Mhm.
lot more that can be done by
Yeah.
us, but also there are a lot more that can be done for young people. And I want to encourage all of San Fernando and environs, Marabella, Pleasantville, and Palm East, and Faizabad, and Point Fortin, and etc., and Port of Spain, and all of Trinidad and Tobago, all of Trinidad, to descend on Superior Street in San Fernando for
Mhm.
Republic Day. Our
Yes.
scouts, guys, and cadets are also going to be on parade in Tobago, because Tobago has their annual Republic Day parade happening this year as well. And so scouts, guides, and cadets are going to be there on parade in Tobago as well,
Yes.
and they're going to be showcasing the best of the three organizations in Tobago. I know primarily that the discussion was focused on what is taking place in San Fernando for Republic Day, but
Yes.
it's also going to take place in Tobago as well.
Mhm.
And so you could go across to Tobago and see what is happening there for the Republic Day celebrations. But I'm urging everyone, if you have been a member of the organization, and if you can find your neckerchief, put it on,
Yeah.
and come down to Superior Street
Mhm.
on Republic Day.
Mhm. Tell me about the. Well, I know the assembly will be at Skinner Park, okay,
Yes.
and the street parade, Sipara Street. Is that the end it all for the street parade, or will they be going through the streets of San Fernando?
No, they're going up Superior Street,
Mhm.
and then coming up, turning left onto, I'm not familiar. I think this is Sutton Street.
Carib Street.
But they're coming back down Todd Street.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you can't get space on Superior Street because it's too crowded,
Hmm.
there's also Todd Street.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
part of
so
Carib
the
Street.
parade is going to come around Todd Street and end up on the Rienzi Curtin Highway, and
Oh,
then back into Skinner
Skinner
Park
Park.
afterwards. So
Yeah.
there are those two streets, that you can line and cheer for the young people. Girl guides, former girl guides, non-active girl guides. Let me not say former girl guides,
Yes.
non-active girl guides. You know, put on your pins and come out and put on a girl guide support. If you have parents who have been in girl guides, try and find one of those jerseys, or some part of your uniform, and wear it. If you have been in cadets, if there's something that you have that you can wear on that day to show that you've been a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Cadet Force, put it on,
Mhm.
and bring your children out,
Yes.
and bring your wives or your husbands out.
Mhm.
Bring your parents out, so that they can say, hey, yes, you were in this, and I supported you through this. Or like me, my wife wasn't in either of our organizations, but my daughter is. My daughter is a Cub Scout, and
Okay.
she's excitedly looking forward to seeing the Scouts on parade, and participating in the parade for Republic Day. And she's telling her grandparents, you all need to come out and see me, and come and see me on parade.
Yeah.
Young people, tell your friends, hey, I'm going to be on parade for Republic Day,
Yes.
and I want you all to be present. Come and celebrate the 48th anniversary
Yeah.
of our Republican status,
Hmm.
the status that allows our self determination.
Yes.
And we, as young people, are the future of that determination. Come and see us showcasing the fact that we are the future of this determination. And come and see His Worship the Mayor of San Fernando in his city
Hmm.
supporting the scouts, the guides, and cadets on that day. I am a San Fernandian, and I know that for Carnival,
Yeah.
Cispero Street is lined. You know,
Yes. Yes.
let's turn it into a carnival-like atmosphere so that the streets are packed.
And show your support for positive ambitions.
Correct.
Yes.
And young people development.
Yes, that is very, very important now, especially now. It's more important now than ever, and I look forward to it. I was so happy to meet these scouts on that Saturday morning in San Fernando. I got excited. I started to remember my days as a scout. So I decided, listen, let me link up with these young people and still linked with them because I'm here as maybe as a voice of the scout movement. Anytime you guys want the public or anybody to know, because like I said from at the start, we stream live on YouTube and Facebook. So as it is now, people who missed the program today can pull it up tomorrow. They just have to type in Hard Talk or youtube.com and they will see Hard Talk for one digital, and they can have a review or a podcast of the program today. So I am willing to do whatever I can with the with assisting the associations of whatever endeavor they have on their drawing board, whatever they need to have the public know about outside of social media and probably the mainstream media. I am offering myself as the lip for that kind of advocacy. So tell me, outside of the if you can share with us, I mean, I don't think you would want to let the cat out of the bag if it's a cat in the bag, but what can we expect outside of this parade? I've been asking that about. Oh, that's how I got to know about all the activities that you guys were keeping for these young people. When we had the last program, I had them extend themselves to tell me about all the activities. So, is there something of great importance that you'd like the public to know that comes after the parade? What can we look forward to? Or
Um,
maybe from the drawing board, you let me know and we can have another program.
well, we are currently planning our annual calendar,
Yeah.
but we have um, the in October, we have a jamboree on the air and a jamboree on the internet. A jamboree is a global gathering of scouts and
Yes.
young people.
Yes.
And in October, from the 18th to the 20th,
Hmm.
we have this global gathering. And, we would love if you could bring your child or drop by
Hmm.
and, come online or come on the radio and talk to someone from a different country,
That's
um,
fine.
and experience, some different culture,
Hmm.
through a conversation, and
Yeah.
share your culture as Trinidadians and as Tobagonians,
Hmm.
via this platform. Our 6 districts are going to be doing them. The venues are Port of Spain, Tunapuna, San Fernando, Mayaro, and the I believe Cedar Hill or Jordan Hill in the Naparima area,
Yes.
and then Tobago.
Hmm.
Um, There's one venue, I believe, down in Scarborough and Tobago at this point.
Yeah.
Um, you could pop in. What we will do is we'll post them on our social media so that you'll be able to see the exact locations.
Yes. Yes.
That's one of the major events. If corporate Trinidad and Tobago would like to get involved, it requires us to have internet access. It also requires us to have ready and available devices.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any entity that is willing to lend us devices or gift us some devices to allow more young people to participate.
Yeah.
If we have any amateur radio members or anybody who is a member of those two societies, Amateur Radio Society and or React,
Yes.
that are willing to share and come down to any of those venues to assist,
Mm-hmm.
helping get young people to be on the radio, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
um, we do have the digital platforms that we are using now instead of the amateur radio devices,
Yeah.
because of the technology that exists now. But
Mm-hmm.
we also believe that we should keep or have those traditional abilities around us still.
Yes.
So that's the next major thing that's happening for our organization.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go straight into February into Founders Day. Founders Day is where we celebrate the birthday of birthdays of our founders, because ironically they shared the same birthday, Lord Baden Powell and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so Scouts and Guides, they do their Founders Day activities in February.
Yes.
Thinking Day is that day, but the guides, they have October as their guide month.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't been told specifically what are the events for the guide month, but
Yeah.
the Girl Guide Association, if there's anybody who is listening who is familiar with it, maybe they could call in and share with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they are doing their set of activities in October for guide month.
Yes.
The cadet force, I'm seeing on their social media, they are running a series of training events and activities happening from now
Mm-hmm.
going forward to the foreseeable future. But in February, Scouts, we are back on parade again,
Mm-hmm.
and celebrating Founders Day. At this time, we are hopefully heading into the Arima area.
Okay.
So we are going to have a big celebration across in the Arima and environs area.
Great.
And then the major highlight later on would be Good Deeds Day,
Mm-hmm.
which takes place in April. And for Good Deeds Day, we are going to set aside an entire day and just do good deeds.
Yes. Yes. I remember. Well, I don't think that's advisable these days, but we had what we call Baba Job.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
always remember that. We look forward to that as the fellas. We'll do anything around the house, clean shoes, clean yard, paint this, paint. We enjoy that Baba Job.
And interestingly enough,
Yeah.
the President Nur Hassan Ali
Yes.
and President Ellis Clark actually had scouts come to President's house
Yes.
to do that same activity, to give service, and it in the news at that point in time, they highlighted it as the fact that the highest office of the land,
Mhm.
the the highest office of the land, recognized the value of the organization and the value that scouting has in the lives of young people.
Mhm.
And we still have that kind of relationship now with Her Excellency,
Yes.
and with the First Gentleman, in terms of the support for the Scout movement. And so we have Good Deeds Day, and that day is literally going to be a day of doing good,
Mhm.
and highlighting what doing selfless acts of service
Mhm.
are for others, and getting young people guided by adults to do those selfless acts of service.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and when you hear and you read the news, it's it's young people doing a lot of negativity,
Mhm.
but Cub Scouts do their best and they think of others before themselves and they do a good turn every day. And Scouts also, and imagine having across Trinidad and Tobago one day where Cub Scouts, Scouts, Venture Scouts, Rovers, and leaders, and parents, and the supporters of the Scout movement,
Yeah.
and whoever they are partnering with for that day, come together to do one day of good.
Hmm.
The last Good Deeds Day that we had, the feedback from that was so positive that Restaurant Restaurant Holdings Limited
Yeah.
decided that they wanted to do Good Deeds Day on a continued basis within their own chain of restaurants,
Wow.
because they looked at what we did, because they were present and they were like, this is something that we could replicate as
Hmm.
part of their their ethics, their ethos, and they did it, you
Hmm.
know and the follow-on to Good Deeds Day in terms of young people was that families became involved, and the families also replicated the activities and the things that were done
Hmm.
outside of Good Deeds Day,
Yes.
so
Yes.
that they continued doing good deeds.
Mhm.
And the first year that we did it, we had a participation of five, no, 400 young people,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
And last year, which was the second year, we ended up with 1,000 individuals participating in our Good Deeds Day activity,
Right.
where we had young people and leaders and members of the community come together to socialize in a space that allowed them to be as relaxed and as free as possible
Mhm.
as part of our good deeds for the day.
Fantastic, 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 fantastic. I love all what I've heard so far, and well, I don't know if you have my contact number. My good friend who linked up with me, he has it. So I would like you guys to share it with the cadets, share it with the
Sure.
girl guides. You just share my number with the entities that bring about these organizations, and just keep me informed as to, like, let's have a program like a week before, so that we can have people know about the activities that they just might not know about. Because I tell you, we stream live on Facebook and YouTube, and there are a lot of YouTubers out there, and there are lots of people who are on Facebook. So once we continue to do this, I think it will all go well for the association and for all who are interested in contributing in some way or the other.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
And I would definitely share that information across to
yes, you
the
share it with them.
cadets and guides.
Yeah, share it with them, especially for Good Deeds Day and Founders Day, the Guides Month, for the Jamboree, for the Cadets, the Thinking Day. Just link up with me early enough so that we won't do it like today for tomorrow. We'll have at least a week or two ahead so that I could continue spreading the message, because this parade, I'm going to repeat this every day until the parade. I'm going to give that the kind of promotion that it needs, because I think it's about time that we all band together as a society, and let's see if we can make Trinidad the way we know it should be, that paradise we talk about, and that place that everybody should want to come to, instead of the negative uh, status that we are experiencing right now. So, building civic minded youths and national pride, I will be promoting it all the way to, well, the Monday, because I'll be home on the Tuesday. I have two grandsons. I'm going to call my daughter, and we'll all come onto the parade and on Sipera Street, and be part of that support.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I
Okay.
do appreciate it. And I thank you for the opportunity to share the good work of the Scout movement in Trinidad and Tobago,
Yes, yes.
as well as the highlights of what I would have shared of the Scouts, guides, and cadets.
Great, great. We'll keep it like a family. You just
Yes,
keep me informed, and we do it again.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I look forward to being back here. I am
Yes.
hoping to bring some young people with me next time and let
Great,
them have a lot of conversation with you all.
great, great. I will appreciate that very much because I do a program called the ABCs of Value with a co-host, Karen Asgarali, and it coincides with what we're doing here now. So let's keep it on a continued basis. As these events come, you just call me in time, and I will set a date, and we'll have that expose.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay, thank you so very much, Mr. John.
And thank you. Have a good evening.
You
And
too,
good
my.
evening to your listenership.
Okay, thank you so very much. Yeah, so I was chatting with representatives of the Scout associations across Trinidad and Tobago. They spoke about the guides, they spoke about the cadets, and we'd like you to get involved in some way or the other to help in building civic-minded youths and national pride. Joint parade to commemorate the 40th anniversary of Republic Day 2024 at Skin. It starts at Skinner Park and continues along Sipero Street and all the way across the top there to down Touch Street and back to Skinner Park in San Fernando. So Tuesday, the 24th of September, 800 hours, people, followed by the street parade. So thank you again so very much for logging on to Power 102 Digital. Today, well, I call it Trinity. It's about Trinidad and Tobago where I am concerned. But we live in a global space these days. So I want to thank all the folks who joined in, Bisnath Prasad. I appreciate your everyday logging on to the Hard Talk program. Uh, Dr. Storytell, Mary Prasad, I appreciate your company. I hope you did enjoy the segment and, of course, spread the word for us also.